What's going on, Taylor?
What's going on, Brandon? How you doing?
Everyone, welcome to Sideline to Sideline. I know we normally say welcome to Sideline to Sideline, then announce us, but I was just so eager to say hello to my co-host, Taylor, there.
I understand. I get it
He's a
personally.
beautiful man.
Yeah,
All
beautiful.
right.
I mean, can't beat this.
So let's go on and get into it. As always, we always start with the recruiting news, and I have it on my paper here, so let's read it out. We have five-star running back Raleek Brown, the number one running back in the class. He decommitted from OU last week, and he commits to USC. Following Lincoln Riley.
Just more pain for me, man.
Yep.
More pain.
Four-star athlete Jaron Kanak from Clemson flips to Oklahoma. So there is a big-time get for you. He follows
a little bit of light.
He follows Brent Venables. Is that how you say his name? Venables?
I don't know how to say his last name, honestly. I think it's Venables.
Venables?
I don't know. I just know he's the next head coach, and I'm excited. So
there you go. We'll talk about him later. Yeah. But he follows him from Clemson to Oklahoma. Then we have five-star defensive lineman Gabriel Dendi. He flipped from Oklahoma. Sorry, Taylor.
Yep.
To Texas A&M. Texas A&M. He's the number one defensive lineman in this class. Walter Nolan's actually defensive end. So Walter Nolan's the number one defensive end. And then Dendi is the number one defensive tackle. The Texas A&M Aggies land both of them on top of Evan Stewart and everyone else. So the rich get richer, and I don't know what's going on in Texas A&M, man.
Something's in that water, man.
Something's in that water. Keeping with the A&M vibes, we have four-star offensive lineman Mark Nabu. He commits to A&M. Another big, solid pickup. It looks like A&M is trying to solidify their trenches there, both on the offense and defensive side. And you have to if you want to go against Alabama every season. They already beat them this season, but if you want to continue that success, it's very important. And then this was today, as of 7:30. I watched it live. Former Florida commit, four-star athlete and wide receiver commits to Alabama over Florida and Georgia. Big time get up to the Crimson Tide, or the Crimson Tide there. And as a Gators fan, that is very painful. He is a big time playmaker. He's 5'11", 180 pounds. Got some speed to him. I project he is an athlete, but I project he'll probably play wide receiver at the next level. But he has the ability to play running back and probably a little bit of safety. We'll see how Alabama uses him, but I think wide receiver is probably his best bet. Then we have some kicker news.
Oh.
Ryan Coe, kicker, commits to Cincinnati.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's some big time news right there.
Kickers are people too.
They deserve love. They deserve love.
And then the man with the recruit who has had the coolest name since Kool-Aid McKinstry, the coldest Crawford. The coldest Crawford. And his middle name is to ever do it. The coldest to ever do it, Crawford. Decommits from LSU after being with LSU. I think he was committed for like 2 years coming out of high school. So big time. He's a four-star wide receiver. He's a big body, great playmaker. He's on the market. So let's see.
That was honestly pretty surprising for me, considering they just got a new head coach who's got a pretty stellar record. I was honestly shocked by that. Yeah,
he's from Louisiana, I do believe, and I believe he was trying to stay home. With Ed Oregon leaving, I think that it just kind of hurt him. And then we get to it. What's his name? Where'd it go? Max Johnson, the quarterback from LSU, entered the transfer portal today. That might have. I seem to see Max Johnson enter the transfer portal, and then like an hour later, Crawford decommitted. So I don't know if that played anything.
He could be following.
Yeah, I don't know if that played any part, because LSU doesn't really have a quarterback on the roster right now that's solidified, and as a wide receiver, that's pretty big time. But we'll see. I mean, Brian Kelly's gonna. It's not like he's gonna not miss out on some wide receivers here.
No, definitely not.
He'll get them picked up. Speaking of the transfer portal, we just talked about how Max Johnson entered. This is a transfer portal for quarterbacks. If you need a quarterback, this is it. So we're going to talk about a big one, but let me go through the rest of the names. Obviously, we're going to talk about Quinn Ewers. Yeah, whatever his last name is. I can never pronounce people's last names. I'm going to butcher a couple.
I'm with you.
We'll talk about him a little bit later. Big time. But Jaden Hazelwood goes to Arkansas after leaving Oklahoma. Big 5-star receiver coming out. He didn't really produce at OU. Hopefully he can turn it around to Arkansas. I'll let you speak about. I know you spoke about him last week a little bit, but what do you think about his pick in Arkansas?
He'll probably get utilized more. We definitely did not utilize him. He definitely didn't produce as much as I thought he was, but it definitely seemed. I mean, we've talked about this before. Yeah. He definitely seemed more focused with his off the field activities than he did with football, which sucks. At that level, you really need to be focused on football. Mm-hmm. But maybe it was something with OU. Maybe it was something with Lincoln Riley. He just wasn't clicking, didn't really feel the love for football there anymore. So hopefully he finds it with Arkansas, and hopefully he pops off, because he was with OU, so there's no hate there. But I never really liked him as a player.
No, and as a player, he has the ability, but does he have the mindset to put in the work? I don't know. I follow him on Instagram. It seems his Instagram,
what he's more focused on.
He's more focused on his Instagram and his fashion and what he's wearing and taking pictures than he is about the actual game. There's more pictures about what he's wearing each day and his fashion than football. And I'm not saying you can't have a passion outside of football, right? Kadarius Toney likes to rap. But Kadarius Toney put in the work when he was at Florida.
And he's producing.
Yeah, he was producing. So I think Hazelwood, I think it's a good fit at Arkansas. They've done well with transfers before, like Felipe Franks, who's now the backup quarterback for the Falcons. He transferred out of Florida. So I think it's a big-time get it for Arkansas. Hopefully they can utilize him. Hopefully he gets his head in the game. We wish him well. LSU loses another outside of Max Johnson. Deion Smith, wide receivers, into the transfer portal on top of Elias Ricks. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. He's a big-time corner. Probably going to go to Ohio State would be my guess. And then we have Iowa wide receiver Tyrone Tracy. Another wide receiver. This is a very offensive side of transfer portal right now. So if you need your team hurting on offensive side of ball, this could be it. And I think OU, since they're going to be kind of behind on the recruiting since Lincoln Riley kind of skipped town, I think the transfer portal is where they're going to have to dip their hand in a little bit and pull some big-time names. It's not like these players can't produce.
Yeah, hopefully we can utilize that and use it to our advantage, because like you said, we definitely missed out with Lincoln dipping out. And plus, even if Lincoln did it at a different time, losing a head coach like that damages your recruiting ability. Yeah. So.
And then we got quarterback from Fresno State, Jake Haener. There you go.
Haener.
Yeah. I think he's going to follow his coach to Washington. Fresno State's coach recently just took the job up in Washington. He's a big-time quarterback for Fresno State. He led them to a great season. I think he follows his coach. I think he's been in college for like 6 years too. So, I mean, man's pretty seasoned. And then we got big-time former 4-star quarterback Taysom, and I'm going to butcher this. This is the backup quarterback from Clemson. Taysom P. from Clemson.
We should just be putting photos up of people so people know who we're talking about.
You guys know who we're talking about. All right. I think at Clemson, he very underwhelmed. I think he's probably going to have to go the JUCO route. Maybe at Jackson State, but Jackson State has Shedeur Sanders, and he's playing lights out. Shout out to HBCUs. But I just don't know. I don't think he's a good quarterback. So, I mean, no offense. Taysom.
No, I agree with you.
Every time you go in the game, you throw an interception, and you have one touchdown to 10 picks.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's an over-exaggeration, but nonetheless, you get the point.
Yeah.
Either way, hopefully maybe a coach can turn him around. And then we got Adrian Martinez from Nebraska, going to be a huge quarterback pickup for some team. He's leaving Scott Frost. again, this is if you need a quarterback. I mean, Adrian Martinez is a very solid.
He is a solid pickup.
Yeah.
I was truly surprised to see him dip out like that because Nebraska wasn't a bad team. They gave a lot of teams everything they had and brought them down to the wire.
Yeah.
I mean, Oklahoma, Ohio State, just the top two that I can think of right now. And it was mainly because of him and his running ability. So whoever picks him up, they're going to have a good quarterback.
Exactly. And I think he'll develop into, when he enters the draft, he'll be a solid NFL backup, which is not a bad thing. You're still making millions to be a backup. But
and you still have to work hard to get that position.
Yeah. And then we have, before we go into our last quarterback, we have quarterback Dillon Gabriel, another big-time quarterback out of UCF. Surprising that he's entering the transfer portal. Kind of. I know they kind of battled with him as far as being the starter this year, but he is a big-time quarterback. They're playing Florida in the bowl game. I thought he would stay at least and play that bowl game before leaving, and he was expected to start, and he just kind of said sayonara. As a leader standpoint, I don't think that's right. I mean, you gave up on your teammates, but for any program out there looking for a quarterback that can suffice, potentially get you into some decent bowl games, Dillon Gabriel is out there. So
yeah, I think the main reason why he dipped out like that, and this may be off, this is just my opinion. You have all these head coaches that are in professional positions that just dipped out just 2 weeks ago, and they just said, all right, I'm done. I'm dropping everything right where it's at, and I'm hopping ship, and I'm getting on a plane. I'm flying all the way to California, all the way to Louisiana. You know, these players, you know, they watch and then they act the same as these coaches do, because that's what they're taught to do, is do as I say and do as I do, all this other stuff. So it makes sense that some of these players are dipping out before the bowl game, going into the transfer portal. Like Hazelwood, he just dipped out and went to Arkansas, whatever. These coaches set a new precedent that you can just dip out whenever you want.
I mean, it's kind of, college football is in a weird place right now. One, there's a lot of upsets. We've been calling it the season of upsets. Everyone's been watching the show. But the transfer portal is all-out free agency now that there's no repercussions to enter it. You're not going to lose a season or anything. And then coaching can just, there's no loyalty. There's no man of my word. I will say Billy Napier, man of his word. He's told all his recruits 4 years ago, all his seniors this year, when they were freshmen, if you come to ULL, I will not leave until my contract is done. And it doesn't matter the money, it doesn't matter anything. I'm not leaving until my contract's done because I owe it to you. If you're going to commit to me, I'm going to commit to you. So that's big time.
Yeah, and he's coaching their bowl game.
He already did, and they won.
Yeah, okay, they won.
So they won the Sun Belt Conference. So shout out to them.
Sun Belt Conference. That's not something I ever keep track of, so I apologize.
Now he's with the Florida Gators. He's on the recruiting trail there. But let's get into the big news. Quinn, you'll say his last name. I can't.
Quinn Ewers.
There you go. Transfers from the Ohio State University. Once the second overall, or the number one rated all quarterback last year, but the second highest rated quarterback ever in the history of recruit rankings. Signed a $1 million NIL. Your thoughts, and then I'll kind of play a game. He's considering Texas. He's from Texas, so Texas A&M, Texas Tech, USC, and Ole Miss. So let me give your thoughts about his transferring, and then we'll play a game of where do you think he's going.
I think he's the next Joe Burrow. He's a talented kid, highly ranked, just like Joey. Started off at Ohio State, didn't get the break you wanted. He probably thought he was going to start this year. Didn't work out, whatever. Maybe he was told he wasn't starting next year, or he was told you have to work for the position, which seems to be a reoccurring theme with players. They get told, hey, you got to work for this position. They're like, all right, I'm out.
We got to think, too, C.J. Stroud was also a freshman, and he got the nod over Quinn, and C.J. Stroud might win the Heisman this year. So I don't think Ohio State's going to be like, all right, well, sophomore year, C.J. Stroud, we're going to bench you for Quinn because, whatever.
Agreed, yeah.
So I think everyone's kind of crapping on him, but what do you want him to do? I mean...
Yeah, he left. I think he left high school early.
Yep, to come to
And
Ohio State and then
go to
lost the
Ohio
job.
State, loses the job, knows he's not going to get it next year. What do you want the kid to do? He's highly ranked.
Yeah.
There's plenty of schools out there that want him, need him. He definitely does not have a lack of interested schools. So I don't think he's going to go out and win like a national championship next year.
Mm-mm.
But I do believe Ohio State's going to be kicking themselves in the butt in a couple of years, a year or two from here, and be like, wow, that kid is good. We should have done everything we can to keep him.
Yeah. Kind of like a
do
Georgia
I think,
with Justin Fields when they had Jake Fromm.
yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be the greatest ever, but I do think Ohio State's going to regret letting him go.
Yeah, he's definitely not the coldest.
No.
No, but and I agree. I would say this about his NIL: it's $1 million. That's for an 18-year-old kid. That's a lot of money.
I would have left high school early as well.
Yeah, I would have left high school early. I think he should, to whatever Ohio State booster that paid him that, he should pay that back. What the remaining that he has left, just give it back. I don't think.
Nah, I'd take it all. Because we don't know what the full details were. It could just say, hey, you just have to come here, commit, be here for a year.
True. That's true.
And then you get your $1 million, and then you can dip out. And he was like, all right, cool.
Imagine
I'm
being 18 years old, walking around college campus and being a millionaire.
Exactly. This dude made $1 million within a year
without playing.
Without playing a game, and now he's going to go find a school where he can play a game. And if he doesn't make it, he gets injured. He's got $1 million in the bank, and he can get a degree. The kid's set himself up for success.
He agreed, and he's got a mean mullet.
Yeah. You can't beat that mullet, man. Can't beat it.
Kind of looks like a Tiger King. I'm not gonna lie, but
a little bit, just a little healthier.
A little healthier, but
less murdery.
Yeah, less in prison.
Yeah.
So he's Texas grown. A lot of people think he's either going Texas A&M, Texas Tech. And then there's USC because of Lincoln Riley and Ole Miss because of Lane Kiffin. Out of those 5 schools, which are predominantly the schools he's considering, what school do you think is his best fit? And what school do you think he'll go to?
Well, if we're going based off of statistics, Texas A&M is going to snag him up because they're getting everybody that's out there right now. If you're out there, you're a 5-star, 4-star. Texas A&M has you. Personally, he hasn't really given any type of hints out there like, hey, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm going to do, or anything like that. But I know he met with a ton of Big 12 schools, including Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a chat with him. I don't really see him going to Oklahoma with everything that's going on. Possibly have Caleb Williams. I think Caleb's on the fence right now until we get an offensive coordinator. Then he'll make his decision. Aside from that, even if we do or do not have Caleb Williams, I don't really see him going to Oklahoma. USC seems like the best fit. There's drama over there at USC, but it's good drama for them.
Yeah.
Oklahoma has bad drama. Texas A&M's too stacked. I think they got too many players. He's just going to get drowned out. We're not going to hear of him ever again. So I think USC is probably going to be the best fit, and I think he'll land there.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, I think USC would be a good fit for him because of Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley is a good quarterback coach.
Yeah.
And then that's the unfortunate loss for OU. I think he does, in fact, either go to Texas or Texas A&M, and I'm going to lean more towards Texas A&M. Simply because they have every other piece besides like a big time quarterback that can really put them over the edge. With Evan Stewart coming in, he's going to be a true freshman, but he's one of the best true freshmen that's come out in a long time at the wide receiver position. And then they're just stacking the offensive line, as you guys heard earlier, and the defensive line. And it's the SEC. It's going to be harder, but it's going to put them on the map a little more. USC is going to have a big time map as well because it's Los Angeles.
If he wants to show out, Pac-12 or Big 12 would be his best option to truly show out and really not have anything hindering him. Yeah. Because those two conferences, they don't really play anybody too big. Definitely the Pac-12 if you really want to stand out.
If he goes to USC, they're definitely going to dominate.
Yeah, Pac-12 would be good for you. If he goes to Texas A&M, he probably won't have an issue because of how stacked they are, like you mentioned. Yeah. There's just so many players on that team. I just don't see him standing out
I got you.
And too many players, too many good players.
Okay, so here's my counter argument, right? If the reason why he left OU or Ohio State was because of not wanting to compete, Malachi Nelson, the 5-star quarterback, just committed to USC, and Lincoln Riley's been recruiting him for a while. Yeah, it's kind of his guy.
So maybe Texas A&M and USC are out of the question.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't think it's a Texas Tech. I don't see Texas Tech.
No.
Maybe Texas.
Texas would be a good fit for him. They got a lot of pieces. They just need to figure out how to use them. And bringing in a good quarterback like that could solve their issues.
Yeah. And Ole Miss, I think Ole Miss gets Arch Manning, which if Arch Manning goes to Ole Miss, there's no way, Quinn's starting. So
yeah, no, not at all. Nobody's taking that kid's job.
Yeah, no, ever. Arch Manning is going to start day one. Just last name alone.
Yep.
So I mean that's our topic. Let us know in the comment section where you think Quinn's going. He's a big time quarterback. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in this transfer portal right now. Spencer Rattler's still out there. We talked about him last week and kind of
nobody wants him
around him, but he's a little rattled in this quarterback transfer portal. So let's all move on. We're gonna talk about Manny Diaz and Miami and how all of that went down. So Manny Diaz, if you guys don't know, was the head coach of Miami, and did not find out that he was no longer the head coach of Miami until Miami announced the new head coach in Mario Cristobal, the head coach of Oregon. So this is wrong, but it's karma.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is why I say it's karma, because Manny Diaz was signed on as the head coach of Temple University for 2 weeks and told recruits, all this commit to me. He had 15 recruits sign on to Temple early signing period and then dipped 2 weeks after signing on as Temple head coach to go to Miami. So I think personally this is karma, but from a standpoint, this is wrong on Miami's behalf. I just think it's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, karma, definitely, 100%. Karma is brutal, but she's also just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think it's karma, definitely, for him. I mean, you can't really do that and expect nothing bad to happen to you later on down the road. I mean, you're there for 2 weeks and then you dip out after telling these kids, like, hey, we're going to win some games. We're going to get to a bowl game.
Sign on early and say, honor your commitment.
Yeah, honor this, but I'm not going to honor anything I've signed or anything. But without that, Miami is a institution. They need to be professional with the way they handle their stuff. Yeah. Definitely, if I'm a recruit, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to go play with Miami because they handle their stuff real well. No, I'm going to be like, I ain't playing for them. They just hired a new coach while they have a coach and didn't tell him. And the only way he found out was when they announced the new head coach. That makes no sense.
Could you imagine just sitting there like, I mean, this is not
scrolling
the way they
through
did
Twitter.
It. Yeah, it's not the way they did it. But like, just imagine sitting there like you're going into work and like your key card doesn't work, and they're like, "You didn't get the news?" He's like, "What news?"
You're not on the list, sir.
You're not on the list. You're out. You're fired. He's like, "What?" And then this is unprofessional on Miami's part as well, because not only does it affect Manny Diaz and watch karma for Manny Diaz, the coaches on his coaching staff did absolutely nothing except try to be their best with their players, and now they're also jobless.
Yeah.
Most coaches, when they come in, they clean house. Billy Napier is doing that now. He's only retained like 2 or 3 Dan Mullen staff members at Florida. But just imagine being like an assistant coach, or you're like, oh man, I'm solid. They even said Manny's the coach for next season, and then all of a sudden Mario Cristobal comes out of nowhere from Oregon and goes, I'm the head coach for Oregon, but I'll come be the head coach to Miami. Mario has ties to Miami. He was the tight ends coach when they had like Shockey and Greg Olson and all that.
So he doesn't way back.
Yeah, he definitely has ties to Miami, and I think that's why they brought him back. And he is a good head coach. But they did Manny Diaz wrong in the entire coaching staff, and I think it's horrible. With that being said, Coach Cristobal names freshman, was freshman, now he's going into a sophomore year, Tyler Van Dyke, who took over the starting role for Derek King when Derek King got hurt, as his starting quarterback over Derek King. And it's mentioned Coach Cristobal is 62-60 in his career as a head coach. I think
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
That's horrible.
So and I just naming Tyler
Jeff
Van
Fisher
Dyke,
of college football.
Yeah, Van Dyke isn't a bad quarterback, but Derek King is like way better.
Yeah.
He just got hurt this season, and so I don't know. I think it's kind of, as a head coach, you should come in and say, win the job, Derek King, if you're, you know, but it should be a quarterback battle.
Immediately naming a starter like that without even getting the time to get a feel for your players, that does make sense. He's not going to last long. I'll tell you that much.
No, he won't, and his record says so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be a head coach and get a better record than that.
So we talked about, we'll move on from coaches to OU's new coach, Brent Venables, the old Clemson defensive coordinator. He had a top 10 defense every year while he was at Clemson. Let me know your thoughts as a Sooners fan, and as an analyst. Let me know.
So from a Sooners, I'm Sooners fan standpoint, I'm excited for this. I've watched the press conference. I've watched all of his videos he's put out. You know, I've seen everything going on around the situation. He looks truly happy and excited to be named the new head coach of Oklahoma. He also looks
like he's trying to hunt down Spider-Man.
He does. He does a little bit, but he looks happy, man. And that's the biggest thing for me is I want a coach who looks happy in the position that they're in. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of these coaches, they just don't seem to have that spirit for football as a head coach, and it translates into the team. If you watch this last season of Oklahoma football, you could tell there was something off. Nobody knew what it was, of course, but you could just tell that Lincoln Riley wasn't in it. His head definitely wasn't in the game. Now we know why. But that translated into the team. We had a subpar season. We somehow scraped our way to the top a little bit, but you could just tell the players weren't excited. They weren't engaged like they should have been. So seeing a coach come in with a smile on his face, putting out all these videos saying, you know, like Sooner football's back, you know, we're going to put us back on the map. That just tells me right there we're going to have a good couple of seasons ahead of us. As far as like a non-Sooners standpoint, the biggest problem with Oklahoma football has been the defense. Mm-hmm. And getting a DC as our head coach is news that every single football fan wants to hear. Yeah. Because Oklahoma could be a top 5 team every single year if they fix the defense issue. Okay. We have offensive weapons left and right that we can use, and we always put up like 30 to 50 points per game. We're always just gunslingers, whatever you name it. But then you look at our defense and we're giving up 30 to 50 points every single game. So it just counteracts the offensive side. So being able to have a defensive coordinator come in as a head coach, I believe will fix that issue. So I'm excited. Maybe he'll be able to bring in a nice offensive coordinator. So we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. I think OU is pointing in the right direction, regardless of losing Lincoln Riley. So OU fans, you should be happy. Taylor, you should be happy. I would agree. Yeah. So we move on to Kenny Pickett, the quarterback from Pittsburgh. He had a controversial play last week, and NFL players and former college players on the defensive side of the ball have a different opinion than people on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm kind of mixed on this personally, simply because I don't know. I mean, let me just show you guys the play real quick. Let everyone see the play, and then we'll let you make your judgment before we get into ours. Let me just
to see that from the quarterback. That was Mark Whipple on the sidelines, the offensive coordinator for the Panthers. Pickett, a very good runner. Don't sleep on those legs. Oh, he faked the slide. Sauce time. Pickett did that work. Touchdown, Pitt.
That was 58 yards or something like that.
Oh, my goodness. Did you see that?
But yeah, so in my opinion, it's cool. And I don't think you have to be super athletic to even do that, so I don't know if it would be replicated.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hit or miss because, right, as a defensive player, you're going full speed, and then all of a sudden you see that the quarterback is letting up, so you have to let up. If not, you're getting a penalty and you're going to get chewed out by the coach. I think the quarterbacks who do this, at this point as a defensive player, I'm taking the penalty, and I'm cracking you, and I'm putting you in the hospital. Because if you're going to try to do this crap, I'm hitting you. Simple as that. I'll take the penalty all day. Just because now that we see it can be done, he slide canceled in real life. Like, man, hit a slide cancel. If you guys don't know, that's like a Call of Duty term. But in real life, and the defender literally in the video, I didn't break it down more, but he slows up. You see that he's getting ready to tackle Kenny Pickett, and then he slows up and lifts once he sees Kenny kind of lean back a little bit. And then Kenny somehow destroys it and keeps going and scores. I don't know.
All right, so do you think that should be illegal, yes or no? Straight answer.
No, but then it should not be illegal for if a quarterback runs, the quarterback gets hit. There should be no more sliding if that's the case. You're just going to get blasted if you're not on the ground.
All right, so I'm watching the play right now. All right, I think what he did should be completely legal because all he did was drop his back leg and slid his back leg. He didn't fully go down with the motion.
Well, that was the point, though. That's the he goes into the motion, and then.
Okay, so if a quarterback can pump fake,
I see that from the quarterback. That was Mark Whipple on the sidelines. The
he can
offensive
fool
coordinator
the defenders.
For the Panthers, Pickett,
and then
a very
throw
good
the ball
runner
over here.
Don't sleep on those legs. Oh, he faked the slide.
These defenders that are over here, they pump fake on, are going to stop, jump, transfer ball away, intercept it, whatever. This is the same thing. He used his athletic ability to fool the defender. The defender's backed off. He's utilizing the other rules that are in place and in effect to score a touchdown. I see nothing wrong with this. I can see what you're saying on your point of view. It is a disadvantage for defensive players. No, 100%. The defense is definitely on the wrong end of the stick here when it comes to rulings. But I see nothing wrong with this play. I think it was brilliant on his end.
It was definitely brilliant, and it was awesome to watch.
I definitely don't think this should be illegal.
Yeah.
Definitely 100% legal in my opinion, and I think it should stay legal. I don't think anything should change. I would like to see this more.
Yeah.
I don't think it will change. Like you said, if you go down like that, I'm cracking you.
Yeah.
I'm taking the penalty, whatever. If I'm in the motion, I'm continuing with the motion. I'm not going to try and backstep or anything like that. Yeah. That's just a risk that these quarterbacks need to know they're taking.
High risk, high
reward.
Yeah.
Just know that risk is there. Take it at your own risk.
Yeah.
So I like it. I think it should be legal. I say use it with caution, though. Don't go out there and think every time you do it, you're not going to get cracked because there are some defensive players that are going to want to drop you.
Yeah.
And they're going to drop you and they're going to take that penalty with no regard for your life.
Just imagine Brian Dawkins and someone tries to do this play on you, man.
Brian Dawkins would knock his head off if he did that to him.
Oh, man.
Regardless of the era, no matter what rule is in place, Dawkins would destroy him.
Yeah. So
that's my point.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and move on from the play. You guys let us know your opinion on the play. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Just let us know and we'll talk about it next episode for next week. So we go into our Heisman finalists. They released it to Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end from Michigan, who totally deserves it. The new number 1 player in the upcoming NFL draft. Kenny Pickett, who we just talked about from Pittsburgh. C.J. Stroud, the quarterback from Ohio State. And Bryce Young, the quarterback for Alabama. I'll let you give me your thoughts on the Heisman finalist. And then I think we're missing... Me personally, I think we're missing someone from there.
I would agree there is somebody missing from that top 4, and I think one of the players that needs to be replaced would be Kenny Pickett. Yeah. Great year, no doubt. He's put up some good numbers, but top 4 Heisman?
No.
I don't see it, honestly.
Who would you replace with him? I have a name, but I don't know if you have a name.
I think we have the same name.
Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, I think we have the same name. I've got his stats pulled up.
I do as well. Yeah,
1,636 yards, with an average of 6.2 with 18 TDs. I just don't see how Kenny Pickett got into that Final Four and Walker got dismissed like that. This is why it's
stupid, right? So Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry both won the Heisman. All right, we all know this. These are their stats for their Heisman year. Mark Ingram had 1,500 yards for 15 TDs. So Kenneth Walker statistically has a better season. Yeah. And then Derrick Henry had a better season, but he had almost 2,000 yards and 23 TDs. So he's kind of middle of the pack there. Obviously, Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, and he's still doing that in the NFL. But Kenneth Walker definitely should be that fourth. And you could argue that he deserves it because he meant the most to his team this season, more than Aiden Hutchinson, C.J. Stroud, or Bryce Young.
Agreed.
I just don't see C.J. Stroud, an argument for C.J. Stroud, when he's got Olive and Garrett Wilson and everyone up there at Ohio State helping him out. He's got Trayvon Henderson, the true freshman running back that's been killing it. I don't want to take that away from him because that's not his fault that they can recruit really well. But as far as who means most to their team and who is the best player in the nation, I don't think he was the best player in the nation. I think Kenneth Walker was. Or Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson could be.
Look, out of this list, that's who I'm pulling for.
Aiden Hutchinson?
He definitely has my vote. It's not too often we get to see a defensive player.
The last defensive player to win Heisman was Charles Woodson of Michigan.
Yeah, so, fitting. Honestly, it would be great to see a defensive player win it. I mean, just the fact that he's in the top four is exciting. I love the defensive end of the ball. I know everybody's always in awe of the offensive side of the ball, but the absolute manpower put into the defensive side of the ball is just it always amazes me, and the lack of recognition they get always baffles me as well. So to see him on the top four and potentially win the Heisman, my heart's full right now, and I hope he wins it.
This isn't a question necessarily for you. I'm just throwing it out. This is just a rhetorical question. Maybe not rhetorical. We're just throwing it out to the atmosphere for the viewers. Is this the year, the first year ever, that the Heisman is won by a defensive player and the NFL MVP is won by a defensive player? Keep that in mind. It could happen. This is a year of some pretty good defense. Throwing it out there.
Agreed. I can see that happening, especially this year.
Yeah, especially this year.
If you want to know my true, honest opinion, I think the winner of the Heisman is going to be C.J. Stroud.
I do too. Or Bryce Young, because Alabama's number one. And
yeah. I think Alabama. I think people are sick of Alabama, and I think C.J. Stroud has put on a better show.
Yeah. Than Bryce
considering
Young.
The pieces he's had. So I'm going C.J. Stroud. He's going to win, but hoping for Aiden. But you know how it goes.
Yeah. Okay, so we go on to there. Let us know your opinion on your Heisman predictions. We'll go on to the college football playoffs. It has been set. Alabama 1, Michigan 2, Georgia 3, and Cincinnati 4. Alabama plays Cincy. Michigan plays UGA. So I'm just going to ask, who wins, Alabama or Cincinnati?
Look, I have absolutely demolished Cincinnati every single time we've done an episode. I have belittled them. I have absolutely dismantled their entire roster, whatever. But Alabama's going to destroy them. There's no chance, man.
Yeah.
Look, this is a Cinderella story. Okay, just the fact that they made the college football playoffs, they're undefeated right now. I mean,
I gotta give them
applause.
But it's over.
Yeah,
they had
If you watch them play against Houston, they have nothing on Alabama. Their players are smaller. They're not as fast.
They have two really good players, and then the rest are like.
Yeah, look, is it going to be a blowout? No, but is Cincinnati going to lose? Yes.
I will say this. All right, this is a game. While they're already considered top NFL prospects, this is a game where Damon Ritter and Sauce Gardner can jump up in the draft, like big time.
Yep.
I think Sauce Gardner's already going to be like a top 15 pick. Ritter's probably going to go bottom first, probably more likely second. This is if Ritter has a big time showcasing at quarterback, this could leapfrog him in the first round lock.
Considering how many quarterbacks are lacking.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. And like I said, Sauce Gardner's already a top corner. I'm really hoping my Philadelphia Eagles select him. He is locked down no matter what talent. So I'm really excited to see him play and see what he does against Mechie and I think Jameis Wilson. Mechie's actually out for the season. Williams or whatever his name is, from Alabama. Excited to see that. And then we got Michigan versus Georgia. Who you got?
I think Georgia got exposed by Alabama.
Big time.
I don't think Georgia can come back from that, and I think Michigan is on a roll. Yeah, choke. I think Michigan's on a roll. Just beat Ohio State, and they beat them in fantastic fashion. Yeah. So I'm going Michigan, and we'll have Michigan versus Alabama.
I'm gonna have to agree. This is why I agree. Not only the Georgia Bulldogs, I believe the last I looked, they haven't won a championship in NCAA championship in the 80s, right? They're the Cowboys. They are the Cowboys of college football. Every year we have the number one recruiting class. I mean, they've had the number one recruiting class for 3 or 4 years. They've had the top 5 at least. And every time they get to the playoffs or get close or whatever, this time of the year, just like the Cowboys, when it gets to December, they choke. And Michigan is Haskins, that running back. You know, Haskins from Michigan is dominant. He's putting up.
Yeah, that dude is dirty.
Yeah, he's having slightly better numbers than Kenneth Walker. They're kind of about the same. I just don't. I mean, UGA's got a great defense. Their offense does not scare me, and I think that Michigan has a great defense and a solid enough offense, a better offense than UGA. And I'm going with your prediction as well. I think Michigan versus Bama, and I think Bama wins it all, unfortunately.
Yeah, agreed. I think Bama will. I want to say Michigan so bad. They're on such a roll right now.
I just don't see it. I mean, Alabama's a man amongst boys right now.
So we'll go with this. All right, you got Alabama. I'm going to go Michigan will win the college football championship.
All right, we'll go split.
They're winning national championship this year.
All right. That'll be a big time win for Harbaugh there. Well, with that being said, that concludes our college portion of the show, guys. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell button for any time we post a new video. All new videos are out on Wednesdays for college at 6 p.m. and for the NFL, it is at Thursdays at 6 p.m. So thank you guys for watching. Taylor, your final thoughts or anything like that? Say your goodbye.
I've got nothing for you. It's been a wild season. Everything's showing out right now how wild the season has actually been, and I can't wait for these bowl games. That's all I got. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe.
All right. Thank you, guys.